So in this video we are going to rebalance the back. So we're going to start by releasing the iliocostalis, which is the long muscle, one of the long muscles that goes all the way down your back from about this sort of level right the way down to the back of your pelvis. And so what happens when we spend a lot of time sitting is, if you can imagine, we often spend a lot of time in this sort of position, and so the iliocostalis is there to stop us from completely face planting. That's one of its jobs. But also when we sit like this, we tend to have our diaphragm resting on our belly, which resists the diaphragm. Diaphragm stops working as efficiently because it's got some resistance there. So the diaphragm gets a bit stiff and a bit lazy, and as a result, we end up having to sort of overuse the iliocostalis to lift our ribs and help us to breathe. So the iliocostalis tends to get overworked and stiff, and the diaphragm tends to get a bit stiff and lazy. So today what we're going to do is to rebalance iliocostalis and diaphragm. So first of all, take your tennis ball, and we're going to go for 3 different spots along the iliocostalis. So we'll go for one that's fairly low down, one that's about mid-back, and one that's right up around sort of shoulder blade level. So let's see what we can do. I'm going to come into here, take the tennis ball and put it under the left side of my low back. So I'm just going to start under here. Make sure that the ball goes into the muscle. And the other thing I would say is that when we get higher up and we're coming under the ribs, this is one to be cautious of if you have bone problems. So if you have any sort of osteosarcoma, if you have any sort of osteoporosis, things like that, you will want to take this very gently, and you might want to take your tennis ball onto the bed if you do it at all. Talk to your doctor if you've got something serious going on there. So take it onto your bed. So the only reason that we have the ball there is not to force through, and it's not to sort of create any sort of trauma. It's just to be a reminder for your brain that this is where I want you to relax the muscle. So it's just there as a little bit of a, hey, it's here, it's here, it's here. It's giving you some feedback. That's what it's for. So no more than 2 out of 10 discomfort. Bring your weight onto the ball, however you need to do that. So I just need to rotate my knees slightly to the left, gets me further over the ball. And I'm just going to breathe into that and get it to release for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and come off. And then we're going to move the ball higher up to the mid-back, so just around sort of brass strap level. And again, as I say, if you have bone or joint problems in this area, then this is probably not the exercise for you, or at the very most, do it on the bed where everything's relatively softer. I don't have any huge issues, so I'm just putting it straight into the muscle, and I'm going to relax that off for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and bring it out. And of course, when you're doing this and you're not being videoed, you can spend a lot longer on this if you want to. And then I'm going to bring the ball for the last time. I'm going to bring it right up underneath my shoulder blade. That's it. So I'm going to tuck it in between my shoulder blade and my spine. And again, just going to breathe in for 10. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm going to bring that out, and then we're going to move the ball to the right side. So we're going to release off the right iliocostalis as well. So again, into the lower back to start with. Find the muscle, find the tender point in the muscle, and yeah, that'll be there. And then I'm just going to breathe into that for 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then bring the ball out, move it up so it's under sort of bra strap level. Again, find a bit of muscle to attach it into. Find someone that's a bit tender, a bit stiff, and breathe into that for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 2, 1, and then once more, right up underneath the shoulder blade, so getting between the shoulder blade and the spine. Find a tender spot. I've definitely got one in there. And again, I'm just going to breathe into this. Now remembering that although this is a tender spot, it's not going beyond 2 out of 10 pain. So I'm able to process it and breathe into it. It's not sort of, forcing me off it or making me go into fight or flight, making things tense up. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then come off the ball. Shake yourself out, give yourself a stretch out, and you should hopefully be able to feel a little bit longer, a little bit taller, a little bit lighter all the way up your back. And that's the release of iliocostalis. Now that's lovely, but if all you do is release iliocostalis, then it will tighten straight back up again unless you use it differently. So we're going to try and use it differently. So we're going to get the diaphragm to take on a bit more responsibility so that the iliocostalis can do a little bit less. So pop your hands on your belly, because that's where you should feel the effect of the diaphragm. And then place the tip of your tongue behind your top front teeth, that there. Let your jaw relax, so your teeth are slightly open, but close your lips. And that will force you to breathe through your nose, which slows down your breathing and gets the air down to the diaphragm, so it encourages you to use your diaphragm. And as you breathe in with your diaphragm, what should happen is that the diaphragm should descend. So the diaphragm contracts and descends. As it does so, your lungs fill up, but your belly contents, your abdominal contents push forward. Okay, so what you should feel is this. So as I breathe in, hands moving forward, breathe out, hands moving back. Breathe in, hands moving forward, breathe out, hands moving back. Now I am exaggerating that and I'm going way too fast just for the camera, but what we're going to do now is just try and slow things down a bit and get that diaphragm working. So tongue in position, jaw open, lips closed, let's go. And what we're looking for is that the shoulders shouldn't be going up and down when you breathe. The only thing that should be moving here is the belly. And this stretches the rib cage from the inside, but it also gets that diaphragm activating. Now, to add a little bit more resistance to the old diaphragm, let's drop the shoulders forward, drop your chin down so that your diaphragm is resting more on your belly. So there's a bit more resistance now, but because we're going to focus on it, we're going to get that diaphragm activating. So here we go. And you'll feel the breath coming much more into your back. Because you're stopping your shoulders from moving. Good. And then we're going to get even more resistance. We're going to drop the hands and head right the way down. I'm going to about halfway down to my shins here because my feet aren't on the floor. If your feet are on the floor, try and get your hands right the way down to your feet. And this pushes your diaphragm right down onto your belly and opens your back out, opens your ribs out at the back. So this will really stretch the back of the ribs, which helps to desensitize the iliocostalis, but it really works the diaphragm because there's so much resistance. So here we go again. Good, and then if you've got your feet on the floor, which hopefully you have, push up from your feet, roll back up so that your head comes up last. And that is how you offload iliocostalis and activate the diaphragm. So that's rebalancing for your back.